Hello and welcome to Math World. Today we're going to talk about systems of equations. Now all this is just more than one equation. Systems is just a fancy word for more than one. So we'll have actually like a bracket with more than one equation. And we're going to want to compare these two linear equations. We're still in the linear unit and we want to compare two. So we want to actually figure out, we want to solve for when two equations will have the same x and y, and then make an analysis about that. So if we were to start off an example, let's just use some money. Money's pretty common. Say that Bert starts with $2 and earns $3 each day. Meanwhile, Ernie starts with $9 and earns $2 each day, which is a better situation. Well, we want to pull out the same things we're going to pull out from the beginning of this year. We want to look for those slope and intercept. We want to look for that starting amount and that rate of change so that we can make an equation. Hopefully, you were able to easily see that the starting amount or y-intercept was 2, and the rate of change for Bert was $3 each day. So we have a slope of 3. While Ernie is going to start y-intercept of 9 and a rate of change or slope of 2. We can write equations for each of those as such. Y equals 3x plus 2, slope x plus intercept, and for Ernie it will be y equals 2x plus 9, the slope x plus intercept. Alright, so which is the better job? Who has the better situation going on? And when will they meet? When will they have the exact same amount of money? Well, one thing I can do to figure this out, and this is probably what most people will start to do, is they'll say, hey, just create a table. So let's see, if x is 0, well, this cancels out, plus 2, y is 2. If x is 1, 1 times 3 is 3, plus 2 is 5. If x is 2, 2 times 3 is 6, plus 2 is 8. And you realize that each time x increases by 1, y increases by our slope of 3. And you might say, hey, let's just do this and find some answers. And let's do this exact same thing over here for this equation and find out when they meet up. And that's not a bad idea. Let's see over here, if x was 0, y is 9. And this one just counts up by 2s. Our slope is 2. And so let's just sit here and do this until we come to a meeting point. When are they the same? When will the x and y be the same for both equations? When will they have the same amount of money? And we can say, what do we say? X was days. So we can say something like, at how many days will they have the same amount of money? Let's see, at the 5th day, we're at, oh, this is at 5th day, he has $17, but he has 17 at the 4th day. Those are not equal because the days are not the same. On the 5th day, he'll have 19, not quite equal yet. Eventually, though, this person who started with more money, 9, he's earning less per day. This guy who has started with less money, earning more per day, eventually Bert will catch him, right? Let's see, we're counting by 3s over here. And eventually, yep, there it is. So at the 7th day, Bert has $23. And on the 7th day, Ernie has $23. So there is your solution. Our x and y is the same on the 7th day at $23. So this would be at 7 and 23. And we're going to learn how to solve this in a lot of different ways. Solving with just a table is going to take way too long. These equations were easy and that's how we were able to get the answer, but what if the equations weren't easy? We're going to want to be able to solve it in multiple ways. We're going to be able to solve it with a graph by trying to graph both of these lines and try to find the intersection point. I kind of know the intersection point is already 7 and 23, so that's why I put it there. But we could solve it with a graph and say, hey, here's our winner. We're going to solve it with some algebra by using a substitution method and an elimination method, which we'll learn in class. But that's it. Systems of equations is just graphing two lines. Bert's line is this one started lower but was increasing faster, while Ernie's started higher and increased slower. And we're going to have more than one line. Systems of equations. Well, that's it, and I'll see you in class. Hey class, it's Mr. Bigsby with a hat, and I've got a challenge question for you. Alright, so I'm going to give you a system of equations, and I want you to figure out when they will intersect. Alright, so the first equation is going to be y equals 5x minus 15. And the second equation in this system is going to be y equals negative 3x plus 57. So that's two equations, which means two lines. When will those two lines meet? I'll give you a hint from our lesson. You can use a table to help you figure it out. Alright, leave the answer in the comments. It should be an ordered pair. And I'll check you later. Now for a word from our sponsor, Papercut Games. This week's game, Camel Up. Camel Up is 2014's Game of the Year, and it's a really interesting spin on how racing games work. So, in this game, and I have a picture of the game board here. In this game, there's going to be camels racing. So you have all these little camels racing, and each turn, there's a couple cool things about this game. First is that when it's your turn, you get to shake this kind of pyramid thing full of dice, and you turn it upside down, and one of the dice comes out. So it's kind of a cool way to roll dice, and whatever dice comes out, the color tells which camel is going to move. So in this case, yellow would move 2 spaces. So it's kind of an interesting way that the camels move about. Secondly, you're not really controlling one camel. Everyone can move any camel depending on what color comes out, but it's more about betting on the camel. So it's kind of an interesting way to win. Each turn you'll have a number of actions you can do, and you can actually bet on a white camel or a yellow camel or a blue camel. And you want to bet on which one you think is going to win. You can even bet on which one you think is going to lose. And there's a number of ways you can bet, even during the race, who's in the lead, who's in last. And so it's kind of a cool way to be involved during the entire race of these camels. And lastly, it's called Camel Up because if there's one camel on a space and another camel lands on their space, they actually stack up. And so it's kind of funny to see the camels stack on top of each other. And now if yellow moves, yellow actually carries the other ones with it. And blue can always jump off, and then yellow could get on top of blue, and it's kind of funny to see them kind of catapult each other forward and backwards. And there's a number of things you can do during the game to kind of influence how these camels race. But at the end, when one wins, everyone counts up how much money they've earned throughout the game, and you have final bets and final gambling prizes. So it's kind of a fun way to see a racing game taken a different way. So that's Camel Up. Definitely check it out. I'm Mr. Bigsby, and I approve this message.